Hey, it's Russ from the Infectious Groove Podcast and Vinyl Channel. It's time to take another swing through the new arrivals bin, so I'm going to walk you right through that, coming right up. If you're a long-time subscriber of the channel, you know we have two videos every week. We always have one on rare vinyl or special pressing, and then one on a topic video or so, and every so often the topic of what's in the new arrivals bin comes around. This is the second one we've done, and I don't know how often they'll happen. Sometimes I go months without buying records, and the new release bin sits pretty dry. Then sometimes I end up refreshing this, every 2 or 3 weeks. So as relevant things go into the bin, I will make sure to do one of these videos and share it along. As always, if you like the channel, please make sure you subscribe. If you have questions on anything that's in the new arrivals bin, by all means, drop a comment below. I'll be more than happy to answer, interact, and help out as much as I can. A couple of things in here are still in here from the last new arrivals video that I did. I'll explain why when I get to those, but by and large, things swapped out pretty quickly here, so I thought I'd go with them for everybody. First up in the new arrivals bin is David Bowie's Let's Dance. This is one of those records that I just always have been meaning to own and have never got around to. I have a couple of the Bowie changes records, and Let's Dance is a great album that for some reason I've just never got around to. Found a remastered version of it on Amazon, had a gift card to burn, so now's the time. I finally have David Bowie Let's Dance on vinyl. Picked up this as a blind buy, and this might surprise some folks on the channel. This is actually one of 2 blind buys that are in this bin. It's the latest Justin Bieber album, Justice. I've never owned anything by Justin Bieber before. I've never really been opposed to him. I like a ton of pop music, but he's never really done anything that's really caught my ear. But this particular record is one that I've heard from a lot of people, like whether you liked his music before or, if you've maybe liked some of the newer stuff that you've heard, like this is a solid record to try and kind of listen to some of what he does. I was in a Walmart, it was there, it was fairly inexpensive, so I picked it up. It's still in the new arrivals bin because I haven't had a chance to spin it yet. I definitely will. I don't ever buy any records just to have or without the intention of spinning them, so I will get to this. It's just not one that I've got a chance to listen to yet. I don't believe these next 2 were in here for the last video, but they may have been. I know for a fact this one here was, but one I came across very recently. I finally was able to find a copy of Mob Rules by Black Sabbath. This is not an original. This is the new 2 LP repress with rare tracks and live tracks on the second LP. If you follow the channel, you know that I have been a long time Ozzy, Black Sabbath guy. Very recently just dipped my toe in the water with Heaven and Hell, and almost every single person who says, oh, okay, well, if you liked Heaven and Hell, then you're gonna love the Mob Rules. So this was another blind buy. This one I have got to listen to at least once. This album is every bit as good as every one of you told me that it was, and by everyone I mean not just viewers of the channel, but my friends out in the world have always said, you gotta hear the Mob Rules. You were all correct. This is fantastic. So can't remember if this was in the last video, but if it wasn't, that's a little bit of a background on that. This one here was Boys to Men collection. That was in the last video. It's just one I want to spin 2 or 3 more times before I file it away. Next up is the latest Leon Bridges record, Gold Digger Sound. If you're a follower of the channel, you know I am always going on about how much I love Leon Bridges. There's a bit of controversy about how Leon's sound has progressed. First record being wildly different from the second, and to me this third is a more natural progression from the sound of the second album than the third. But Leon Bridges' Gold Digger Sound, fantastic third effort. This, as of the filming of this video, this album just came out a week or 2 ago, so I definitely want to give it more spins, but I have had a chance to listen to it at least once front to back. If you loved his second album, you're going to love this. If you strongly prefer that first album, I gotta tell you, I don't think there's anything in here that's gonna sway you over to his new sound. But and there are a couple of variants of this. I went into the local record store the day this came out and was just going to grab whichever one that I saw, and a helpful person at Dearborn Music said, oh wait, hold on, there's a indie exclusive cover, so they gave me that and I grabbed that. So that's why this looks a little different than yours. That's why I don't think either one of them will be more valuable than the other, but that's why the cover of this one looks the way it does. Next up is one of those albums that you might say, I can't believe you didn't own that previously, but I fixed it. I finally got Peter Gabriel-So on vinyl. This is an album that I should have had for years, I know, but I finally got around to it. Now, I do know that there's a lot of mixed reviews on this one that I got here. Again, this was an Amazon gift card situation. This is the newest remaster. It's at 33 RPM, but it's half speed mastered. Love the words half speed master, always sounds great to me. But I have heard some people complain about the rearranging of the track listing on the second side of this LP. And I have heard some people complain that there's some make claims that there are intergroove distortion on the last track of side 2, which now is In Your Eyes. This one I haven't had a chance to play through yet, and I've never owned the record before. I've never listened to the album straight through before, so I don't believe that the track listing being shuffled on side 2 will matter to me much. However, if there is intergroove distortion on the last track on side 2, that's going to be a huge thing. So jury's very much still out on this, but at least I own a copy of the album for now, and if I have to rectify it by getting an original pressing, there are plenty around that I'll be able to find. I just went with this one because it was a gift card and half-speed mastering, and I'm gonna hope for the best. But absolutely fantastic album that I should have owned for a very long time. Next up is a wonderful piece that was kind of a late birthday present, better late than never. Honored that anybody would give me any records in the first place. This is Soul Brothers, Milt Jackson and Ray Charles. Now, if you follow the channel, again, you know that I'm very jazz deficient. I'm always looking into getting better jazz, more jazz, not just records, but an education on it. And I have two very good friends who I feel have very, very good taste in jazz, and they're always kind of sliding stuff my way and saying, hey, here's one you should check out. A friend of mine brought this over. I did not know it was a birthday present at the time that he brought it over. We listened to this and I was just blown away. The musicianship on display on this LP is insane. And then was lucky to find out that, oh, it turns out this is your birthday present. So this is from a recent run of reissues on the Atlantic label, and I can tell you that everything I've heard about this, I absolutely love it. It's going to hang out in the new release bin for a little while longer because I want to spin it 2 or 3 more times before filing it away. Next up is the second of 2 blind buys. There might be a third sneaking in here, but I think it's only 2. Tickets to My Downfall by Machine Gun Kelly. Now, this one here is a direct thank you to Nick from the Vinyl Den, because this is an album that I probably never would have given a chance for a multitude of reasons, and Nick has really, really been a champion of the album, and very punk rock vibe, very Blink-182-ish, not a surprise since Travis Barker's drumming on it, but this was a blind buy. I hadn't heard anything off of it at all. Again, picked it up, I think I was in Walmart, picked it up there, and fantastic pop punk record. So I'm really, really happy to have this. Again, it's still hanging out in the new release bin because I've only listened to it front to back once, but I liked what I heard. So I want to give it another couple of run-throughs. Next up is John Mayer's latest release, Sob Rock. This album is good, but not as good as I wanted it to be, is my tentative review of it. I grabbed the Target version of this, which came on like an aqua clear vinyl. The morning of, I had a snafu where I ran to a local record store on release day, tried to get it. They didn't have it, and so I just stopped at a Target on the way home because they had an exclusive version of it, and I grabbed that. Want to support the local record store, but if they don't have a piece in stock, you know, I'd really like to get it. So love the singles that I've heard off of this. I think Last Train Home is a fantastic album. I love the Nice Price sticker being on the cellophane. Again, I don't love it as much as I wanted to. Not a bad album by any stretch, but that's why it's still hanging out in the new release bin. This one here, actually, this is 3 of 3 for blind buys. This was on Amazon for $14.99. The Monkees-Live, the Mick and Mikey Show, or the Mike and Mickey Show, for $14.99, a double LP of the Monkees-Live, and everything you could think of from the Monkees is included in this. Even songs that Davy Jones sang and has since passed away. But a live show of Mickey Dolenz and Mike Nesmith holding down the fort, doing the first, from what I understand, official live Monkees album for $14.99. I couldn't pass it up, and it's in the new release bin because this just arrived shortly before the filming of this video, and I haven't had a chance to listen to it at all yet. But I can't wait to. I'm hoping it's fantastic. If nothing else, it's only $15 for a double LP of a lot of songs I know I already like. Next up, Prince, Welcome to America. This is the latest in posthumous studio work that's being released by Prince, or posthumous release of studio work done prior to Prince's passing. I don't want to enter the arguments too much about this record. I know that some folks think, oh, they're flogging his catalog. He didn't want that stuff released. There's varying opinions on whether he wanted it released or not. For me, I like the era that this was recorded in a great deal. A lot of those late 2000s, early 2000, or late 90s, early 2000s records, all the way up through Third Eye Girl, and a lot of stuff that he was making all the way up till the year that he passed away. So I'm open to this. I'm all for hearing material from that era. I don't know that it'll be the greatest Prince album ever recorded, but I'm very, very open to it because I like a lot from that era. A lot of folks say Prince himself didn't even like this record, and that's why it got shelved. Who's to say? We don't know for sure. But I did not listen to any of the singles prior to this. I think there was at least 2 that were on streaming ahead of time. I didn't listen to any of that. So this is going to be completely blind listen to me for me straight through. Another one like the Monkees that arrived right before the filming of this video within a couple of days. So I just haven't got to it yet. Next 2 are ones that, again, you would probably look at this video and say, how did you not own those records already? But I had been looking for them for a very long time, and I finally found them at Rock City here in Detroit, very near where our mecca for music is, and that's a couple of Linda Ronstadt records, Simple Dreams and Heart Like a Wheel. Linda is one of those people that I've always wanted a couple of really solid records from. I know she's got a fantastic live album, a couple of hits packages, tons of great studio work, but this is where I wanted to start, was these 2, and I found them both on the same day in great shape for fantastic prices, especially in today's climate, and both of them have just for me, a great showcase of her work. And I did get to spin both straight through once each, but they're in the new arrivals bin because it's something that I want to keep revisiting. For as long as it took me to get her LPs, I want to keep revisiting them for a while. The latest Royal Blood album, still in the new arrival bin, covered that in the last video for sure. T-Rex, Electric Warrior. This is another one that I found at Rock City here in Detroit, and this is the Kevin Gray cut of this LP. I had a friend come over on a Friday night with this version of this LP, and this is one of those classic albums that I've never owned and I've never listened to straight through. Friend came over with that LP, the new Kevin Gray cut. It took about 3 songs into side 1 for me to go, yep, I have to own that and that version. So I was on the lookout for it. It's a little pricey. If you've shopped for it online or at your local record store, you know this is a little pricey, but in my opinion, it's worth it. It sounds stunningly good. Again, hanging out in the new release bin just because I want to spin it a couple of more times before it gets filed away. Coming to the end here, we got a couple more that I want to get through, and this is definitely another one where you'd say, I cannot believe that you didn't have that one before, and that is Steve Winwood Chronicle. I actually found this again, and this is not a commercial, but I found this again at Rock City here in Detroit, and just an LP that I really wanted to get for a long time. I've always wanted a couple of songs on this record, and I figured it would be a great album front to back, and finally found it. Same trip as T-Rex and Leonard Ronstadt, I was able to find a copy of Chronicle, and it's got tons of what I want from Steve Winwood right on the one LP, so happy to own that. The last two things that I'm going to feature are one that I find very interesting. I had a video get premiered very recently where I talked about 5 classic albums that I'd never heard before. And in that video, I talked about The Who and how I'd never heard Live at Leeds, and I may have even mentioned that I'd never heard a Who record front to back. And the same day that that video premiered on YouTube, and the only people who knew about that video was myself and the gentleman who edits these videos for us, this record, Who's Next, showed up in the mail that day, which is crazy. And so thank you to whomever sent it. That is very, very nice that a copy of Who's Next shows up. It seems to be in great condition. It's one of those albums that when people watched that video on social media, the reaction, and within the comments of that video, the reaction was, I can't believe you've never even heard Who's Next. Well, thanks to someone who sent this to me, I'm now going to. It's in the new release bin because it just showed up a couple of days ago. Haven't had a chance to listen to it front to back yet, but it's going to happen. And who knows, maybe I'll do one of those reaction videos on it. The last one in the new arrivals bin is an album that is very, very special to me, and I'm very, very thankful to finally have this on vinyl. This is Zakk Wylde's Book of Shadows, which is, if you're not familiar, is a wildly different type of record than anything Zakk Wylde had done previous to this. It is everything Zakk had done before this was very metal. He was Ozzy Osbourne's guitar player. This album is part blues, part bluegrass, part Americana. There's some harder rock aspects of it, but it's just a fantastic mid-90s LP that I've always wanted on vinyl. And a company called E1 Heavy put it out mid 2020 or mid 2019, somewhere around there. They only made 500. I missed out on it, and I was really, really crushed and devastated because they went for a ridiculous amount on the aftermarket. They just recently, about a month ago, as of the filming of this video, put up 500 more. A friend was nice enough to see it on social media, send me the link and say, hey, get on this right now. I did get on it right then, and I ordered it, and I now have on vinyl one of my favorite albums of the 90s and one of my favorite rockish albums in quite some time. So Zakk Wylde Books of Shadows is the one that rounds out the new release bin. Like I say, with these videos, I do plan on doing them when there's enough of a shakeup in the new arrivals bin to warrant it. And even though there was a couple in here that I had to skip because they were in the last video, I feel like this was quite a bit of a quicker shakeup than usual. So if you're enjoying these videos, by all means, please leave a like on the video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, would love it if you'd hit the subscribe button. But mostly the thing that I like more than anything on these types of videos is the comments. So if there's anything in here you have questions on, or that you love or you don't love or whatever, leave a comment below, and let's have some interaction and discussion on it. No matter what, the thing I always try and say, and I very much mean it, is thank you so much for watching.